Okay, I guess I can sort of, pat myself on the back a little bit because it turns out that, in a way, I ended up being right. I actually predicted who the top 10 on the NFL Top 100 would be. Sort of. See, I predicted who the 10 individuals were, but I didn't really get the order right. In fact, even though technically, I did guess who would likely be at number one and end up being at number one, it was between the person who was at number one and two other people. So, technically I wasn't even 100% right about that. But, again, it's great. I can pat myself on the back that I got all 10 of them right in terms of who would actually be in the top 10, not the order. Happy Thursday, everybody. Yes, it's Thursday, and I am so incredibly happy that, football is near on the horizon. Literally just a little over a month from today. I'm excited. Actually, come to think of it, I do believe preseason either starts, I think it starts next week. Cool. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait. So, how about I get into who actually made the top 10? Now, I knew that here's the thing. I did predict, again, I predicted who was going to be in those, last 10 spots. But, I could never have predicted this order. No way. I don't think anyone could, really. Not unless you were very, very, very lucky. Now, I knew that, the three, defenders that were going to be on there were going to be Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, and Von Miller. And I did predict that, Von Miller was going to be ranked lower than Khalil Mack, and I was actually right about that. Von Miller was number 10. What can I say? It's Von Miller. He's awesome. In real life, he's a chicken farmer, a huge nerd. It's awesome. And, he's actually, for those of you who are Game of Thrones fans, he's a huge fan of Game of Thrones. Yeah, there's actually a picture of him in his Broncos uniform, and he's actually sitting on that throne of swords. It actually looks kind of cool. But, he was actually on Hot Ones. Yeah, Von Miller was actually on Hot Ones once. Yeah. It was actually really a fun episode. Although, unfortunately, the last question on Hot Ones when he was on there was, he predicted that, itch my shoulder, sorry. That the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl, and that was Super Bowl 52. And sometimes it still bothers me we live in a universe where the Eagles won. Man, I don't like that at all. But there were plenty of other surprises on this list. Starting with the fact that, I also predicted that the two wide receivers that were going to be on there were, Antonio Brown and Julio Jones. And I didn't really think the order that they were going to appear in the list was going to change. But I didn't think both of them would not be in the top 5. Yeah, so, again, Julio Jones ended up being, number 9. And, seriously, I get the feeling like if the Falcons won that Super Bowl, the MVP probably would have been Matt Ryan. But if not him, then probably Julio Jones. Actually would be kind of cool because, if Von Miller was the MVP of that season, was Super Bowl MVP of that Super Bowl, and have Julio Jones be the Super Bowl MVP of that Super Bowl, that's the order that they appeared on the list. Yeah, Von Miller 10, Julio Jones at 9. Now, another thing I did predict that I was right about was, of the 4 quarterbacks that were going to be on there, I predicted that Aaron Rodgers was going to be the lowest ranked of, all 4 of them. And, he was. And here's the thing. At first, I really did like Aaron Rodgers, especially considering the fact that in that Super Bowl that he won, it was either root for him or root for. Ugh. Oh, I was trying to hold back a yawn. I'm sorry. It was going to be between. It was the Packers Steelers Super Bowl, which, I mean, this is when Ben Roethlisberger had those certain accusations that a lot of people were angry at him for, but the Steelers made it to the Super Bowl anyway. And I really wanted the. I'll never forget. I was actually at the attic at Gettysburg College watching that Super Bowl. And I remember, especially like the last, I think like minute 43 or something like that, when Green Bay had just scored, but, minute 43, any great quarterback will know how to work the clock to his advantage and score. And, Ben Roethlisberger had the ball with that amount of time left. I don't know what's going to happen, but, Green Bay ended up winning. So, I mean, I don't think I ever actually said this, but all 4 years it was at Gettysburg College, when it was Super Bowl weekend, I watched the Super Bowl at the attic. I would always sit like at the at one of the corners at the bar. And the attic was like a student hangout on campus, by the way. And literally all 4 times I saw the Super Bowl sitting in that spot at the attic, all 4 teams I rooted for in the Super Bowl won. For those of you who are wondering, Saints, Packers, Giants, Ravens. I predicted all 4 of those teams, or I rooted for all 4 of those teams in each of those respective Super Bowls, and they won. So, that was pretty awesome. I actually remember being kind of like whiplash that, like the Super Bowl after I graduated from Gettysburg College, because that was the Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl. Now, keep in mind, no one ever thought, I did not even remotely think that the Seahawks are going to give the Denver Broncos a shellacking in any stretch of the imagination. So I really had no idea who to root for in that Super Bowl. It just so happened to be, wait, was it? Was it that Super Bowl? I think it was. Was it? What Super Bowl am I thinking of? No, wait, it was, no, it was, yeah, well, it was the, Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl that year. It was. For a second, I was thinking of the Seahawks Patriots, which was also a really funny ending. Seriously, I saw that. If I ever want a good laugh, I just watch that final play in that Super Bowl. Anyway, I was rambling a lot. Actually, speaking of a team that was in the Super Bowl in recent years, number 7, Antonio Brown. Yeah, again, I didn't think both of those receivers, Antonio Brown and Julio Jones, were not going to be in the top 5, but this is the first year that they're actually not. I mean, again, top 10 is awesome, but, honestly, yes, I am a football fan, so I know about the whole Antonio Brown controversy in Pittsburgh. I just really hope that Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell realize what they did, because it really could go in a way in which both of them wake up one day and like, what did I do? At least, I mean, that could potentially, I mean, it might not, but more than often it does. So, keep that in mind. And honestly, the biggest shock to me, I predicted 3 people were going to be number 1. Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Aaron Donald. And I knew that if I was going to be right about 1, the other 2 were going to be in the top 5. I did not in any way see Tom Brady get number 6. And this is actually the first time that Tom Brady did not be in the top 5. Yeah. This is actually the first time since they started doing the NFL Top 100 that Tom Brady was not in the top 5. Seriously. He was either like number 1 or exactly like number 5 or something. I don't know. But, I do like what the narrator of the Top 100 was saying. While he may not be known as the greatest on this list, he's still the greatest of all time. And that is a fact. He is the GOAT. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Remember that, okay? So, now we get into the top 5. There was only one running back who would be on here. Of course, it was Todd Gurley. I'm actually really glad he made the top 5. Although it's funny. The first time I ever heard Todd Gurley's name was Do any of you guys remember a show called Aqua Teen Hunger Force? They actually had this, like, sort of mini spin-off thing where, Carl, who's a character on that show, would do, like, a pick of the week. And, he once said, in that draft, when the Rams had picked Todd Gurley in that draft, he was saying that, the Giants ended up picking, Trey Flowers, who, the Eric Flowers, who ended up being a bust. And then Carl's like, why would you pick a man with a girly name like Flowers when you could have picked a man with a man name like Gurley? That was funny. But yeah, Todd Gurley's awesome. Now we get to number 4, and really? Come on, Pat Mahomes ought to be, well, yeah, considering who 3, 2, and 1 are, I can see why Pat Mahomes would just be number 4. Although, personally, he and the person at number 2 ought to have switched places, but that's just me. So, yeah, Pat Mahomey, my homeboy, Mahomes. He made he made the top 5. That's awesome. And what can I say? I gotta go with what Skip Bayless said. The other day, Skip Bayless was asked, if you're gonna pick in the coming years who are gonna be in the top 5 quarterbacks, Pat Mahomes is gonna be one of them. And that is a fact. For those of you who are wondering, the other 4 were Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, and because he's a Dallas Cowboys fan, Dak Prescott. So, in Dak, I back. Okay? That's how it is. Now, at number 3, shout out to the Bears fans, Khalil Mack. He finally outranked Von Miller. So, yeah, it's Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack attack. He is awesome. I'll never forget, the first time Khalil Mack cracked the top 5 a couple of years ago, the narrator says, when Khalil Mack gets his hands on you, you go down. But when you get your hands on him, you feel like you're touching greatness. Game-saving, franchise-altering greatness. This is back when Khalil Mack was on the Raiders. Yeah, that was a giant whiplash in the NFL. In fact, Mitchell Trubisky was interviewed. He's like, you guys just got Khalil Mack. And he's like, okay, stop joking. What do you really want to tell me? That would actually be my reaction, too. I'd be like, if someone were to tell me that, or here's an example. If someone were to tell me that, one of my brothers is actually going to, if one of my brothers is going to tell me that they're going to, move to, the area, I'd be like, okay, seriously, stop joking. What'd you want to talk about? It's one of those, it was funny to me. And now we get to number 2, the top-ranked quarterback, that is Drew Brees. What can I say? It's Drew Brees. If Tom Brady wasn't around, they would most likely be saying that, Drew Brees is the GOAT. And in a lot of ways, he is. But, it's funny. I think this may very well be actually, it is the highest that Drew Brees has ever gotten, but I really thought he would have gotten number 1. But, speaking of number 1, how about we get into that person? Ladies and gentlemen, for the 3rd time in the history of the NFL Top 100, we do not have a QB as number 1. For the 2nd time in the history of the NFL Top 100, number 1 is by a defensive player, Aaron Donald. What can I say? That man was given essentially a king's ransom to keep playing in the NFL. He deserves it. He's so cool. I like Aaron Donald. I hate what he does to my Cowboys. But, he did to my Cowboys. But you know what? Outside of that, he's awesome. It's funny. Aaron Donald is number 99 on his jersey, but he's number 1 on this list. So, 99 plus 1, 100. That's a perfect score to me. Yeah, I just used crazy logic that probably didn't make any sense, but you know what? I like Aaron Donald. So, Aaron Donald, congratulations. You're awesome. But don't think you're going to get away this season against my Cowboys, okay? Don't think you're going to do that, okay? In fact, I predict that a certain lineman, it actually is preparing very highly against you. So yeah, okay, for those of you guys who don't know, a year ago in the draft, we drafted a lineman named Connor Williams. And he wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but he's undersized. As of right now, in preparation for the season, he actually put on like 30 pounds of muscle, weighing like 315 or whatever, or something like that. I think if there's ever a lineman who's the most prepared to take on Aaron Donald, I think it's going to be him. But only time will tell. But again, it's not about him, it's about Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald, you are the man. You are... And here's the thing though. I'm 6'4". I guarantee you, in terms of height, I'm bigger than Aaron Donald. But if you see like his Instagram feed, he's ripped. He could completely destroy me in a fight, and I'm okay with that. Just like I'm okay with him being number one. So congratulations, Aaron Donald. You the man. And give it a few years, if not already, y'all gonna be considered the GOAT. Okay? But, again, only time will tell. Like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button, follow me on the social media platforms, turn on notifications on YouTube. I am humbled I made this video for all of you guys who watch and enjoy for today. I am hopefully y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. Getting ready to watch some Hot Ones with Idris Elba. It's gonna be sweet. You know what? Someone get Aaron Donald on Hot Ones. Because if he can, like, handle the NFL, I'd like to see what he'd do on Hot Ones. Actually, pretty much all 10 of these guys I just mentioned should be on Hot Ones at some point. I mean, Von Miller was. So, 1 down, 9 to go. That'd be sweet. And remember, if any of you guys ever want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. And I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices.